Welcome back this September the 7th. Thank you for joining me for another episode today. I'll be your host. My name is Phil, and I've been in the crypto space for about 7 years now. I've seen the majority of all bull and bear runs, and my job is to equip you with the proper tools and skills to help you succeed in the bull market. But more importantly, I'd like to help you navigate through this bear market, because the goal of this bear market is to obtain skills and to increase your knowledge base so you can survive, and hopefully we can come out ahead in the next few years where you're going to be a much more confident and successful trader than you are right now. We've seen cryptocurrency go through the absolute worst drops before, ranging up to 85% drops, and this is something fairly new we're seeing right now, but it's also very common. So when will the bear market end? What kind of prices could we possibly reach? Well, join me today, and I'd be more than happy to discuss with you some of the possibilities where Bitcoin could have an outcome where we could eventually reach $100,000. Let's get right into it. Bitcoin faces tragedy. We've seen in 2014 Bitcoin falling down for a period of one entire year, now at 85%. When is this bull market going to start? It's now 2015 and the price just keeps dropping. Is there hope for Bitcoin? Will we recover? The price is actually going now. The price is recovering slowly. Oh goodness, it's now almost 2016. The price bounces from $200 to $400. Fast forwarding to 2017, we see that Bitcoin recovered from that $200 low. It's all the way at $5,000 right now, and we see Bitcoin in the 2017 making that almost $20,000 all-time high, doing 8,000%. So did Bitcoin recover? Oh, absolutely it did. Fast forwarding to 2018, Bitcoin has now made a trendline support that has held for 100 days. It's just a matter of time until this trendline breaks. This is a very bearish market right now in 2018, and we are looking for a bottom. Where is this break going to come? It's trying to break above the 55 EMA right there, but it failed right here. It fails, and now it's about to break. Looks like it's gonna hit it, and it hammers. It falls to the downside. After hitting that support range down over here, Bitcoin ends up recovering 300%. How high could this go? Unbelievable price action, getting all the way up to $14,000, doing a 450% return. Here we see Bitcoin reach that $14,000 high, and it falls down 70%, but so far it recovers over 600%. And this is the year in 2020, 2021 where we saw Bitcoin reach these massive highs. So every time Bitcoin has fallen down, we've always seen it recover to make an all-time high again and again. So ask yourself, are you bullish on Bitcoin long term? We've seen Bitcoin do this time and time again where it's made major drops to the downside, and we've only seen that when it found the bottom, it ended up making thousands of percents of gains. So is this going to happen again? When is a good range to start buying? Where could a local bottom be? How long could it take to get to this bottom, and what price could it actually reach in the future? So let's get started right now to see what Bitcoin can do. Consider joining my Discord group. It's got a 7-day trial. You can visit it at my website here at philakone.com, where there's a 7-day trial and a library of lessons full of very valuable information that you can use to increase your skill base and knowledge set. So when the bull market does come, you're going to be very well prepared for the market. So I look forward to having a lot of you as my students, and you're more than welcome to approach me anytime in the Discord group to ask me questions or just have a general chit chat. So taking a look at Bitcoin right now, we see that it has finally dropped to the downside. On August the 30th, I posted this. Today we discussed BTC's roadmap to $18,900. And it was a very obvious short to me because what I showed you earlier in the video had a very similar type of pattern. If you take a look right here, where it's forming this type of trend line. If we take a look at all the way back at Bitcoin on, say, Bitfinex here, back in 2018, we see a very similar type of setup to enter a short position. I called the short position extremely well and accurately. Unfortunately, I was just away from my computer and wasn't able to catch that short. So in 2017, although this was a longer period of time, if you compare that right here to Bitcoin currently, it was not that much different, was it? Except on a smaller time frame. And the reason why 18,900 was the last support that I called, actually I called a range, is because of these factors right here. What we're seeing is that low, and this low here. So right now, we're sandwiched in between the 18,500 and the 18,900 range. And this will eventually break, in my opinion. Right now, the world is in an economic crisis, I would say. Not as bad as 2008 yet, but because of these global macro issues going on with inflation, rate hikes, regulation not coming into play for crypto, right now Russia cut out gas to Europe. It's a nightmare for countries like Germany right now that have to start burning coal to get electricity. And Russia is also starting to sell their gas to China. So this is a pretty bad sign for the world right now, where I don't think a bunch of rate hikes and headlines are eventually going to fix it in a 6-month period. It's going to be much longer than this. Bitcoin right now to me is still very bearish. Let's take a look at the indicators from a macro perspective, high time frame, and then work our way down to the lower time frames. On the monthly chart, what we see is it looking very nasty. It finally broke down and is trading below the open and close of the previous 3 months between June and August. And now it's just a matter of time, in my opinion. Everything that I'm talking about is from the perspective of my opinion and what I'm going to do. This is not in any way soliciting financial advice. Always take everything with a grain of salt and make your own decisions, because you're ultimately going to be responsible for your own losses and profits. So we see that the next resistance or support range here is around 17,600. It's just a matter of time, in my opinion, until we get there. It's bound to get there. There's no fundamental reasons why Bitcoin and institutions and retail investors will be injecting a huge amount of money into the market. It just doesn't make sense right now based off of how everything is going. Hopefully the Feds reverse their situation soon, because this is just brutal. So taking a look at the next possible low here, I'm going to go to Bitfinex's chart because it has more data. Looking at Bitfinex on the monthly chart, what we see that this is a fairly decent region here, where this is all bull trap the regions above it, considering the wicks on the monthly, and it also hits a high there as well. So this is opening, closing, a high there. This candle finishes beautifully there as well before it tries to make a drop to the downside for 4 or 5%, then rallies upwards. So if you were to ask me when is a good time to buy, that's the first thing that we'll cover. I'm probably going to end up saying, for myself, a good range to buy is between 15,000 and 10,000. It may seem like a very extreme range. Actually, I'm going to go to the low of the previous one over here, even above 10K. But realistically, based on volumetric profiling, we see a lot of heavy activity between that $12,000 to $14,000 region. That is where I will buy the majority of my crypto for long-term holding, that I will not even end up selling, even if it drops to like lower than 10K. I still hold a good amount of crypto. I got out luckily around $40,000 to $50,000, but of course I still hold a lot of crypto from a very low base price back, accumulating between 2018 and before 2020, before the big bull run. I also hold Ethereum. These are the coins in my portfolio for the people that are interested. I'm holding Bitcoin, ADA, Matic, AVAX, HBAR, Atom, Ethereum, EGLD, Sol, DOT, XRP, FitFi, and also BNB that's not on here for some reason. So that's my considered a good range to be generally interested in Bitcoin. And the reason for that is because we've generally seen about 85% drops in the market before it has made a substantial rally. So looking at about an 84% drop brings it down to about 11K, 12K range. So I think it's safe to say that anything under 14K is a fire sale, considering that the all-time high could potentially reach 100K, 250K. We just don't know. We just have to remember why Bitcoin was created, and it's how it's affecting the world right now. There's tons of potential for it to reach some amazing highs where, who knows, one Bitcoin could even be worth $1 million one day. When you factor in the supply that's heavily limited, the halving as well, people that are losing access to their Bitcoins, every time someone loses access to their private wallet, their private keys, it just means that it will generally increase the price of Bitcoin over time because the supply becomes more scarce and there's a much higher demand for it. So over time, people are going to get locked out of their exchanges. They're not going to be able to recover their wallets. They've lost their private keys. You see tons of documentaries and articles about this. And over time, you can only see the price of Bitcoin going up. So in my opinion, the bottom is very difficult to predict. Although if I had to guess a bottom, it would probably be somewhere 10K. That's the worst case scenario. But realistically, the good range to be interested for myself is between $12,000 to $14,000. Now, will it get there? We don't know. We may just never reach a bottom. And the people that keep waiting for a bottom, they may not ever catch it because the bull market just simply might be here already. And we just don't know that it could begin. But without regulation, it's hard to say that we're going to have a major rally. Stablecoins need to be regulated so large institutions can pour in billions of dollars overnight. So how long could it actually take to get there? Okay, that's another big question. All right, I'm sharing with you guys something that I'll give credit to Benjamin Cohen. This is from his website Into the Cryptoverse, where there's a subscription to pay $130 a month for very advanced charts from the perspective of a PhD in PhD in computer software engineering, and he has a master's in economics as well. So really smart guy. He compiled a BTC market cycle peak ROI chart. Okay, so the blue chart here, this is the crash in 2014 leading into 2015. Okay, the green line right here is where we're currently at. Okay, and this one here was the one in, let me double check here. Sorry. This one here is in 2012. The red one here is in 2015. The yellow one here is the one in 2018. And the green one right now is the one we're currently at right now. So if you take a look on the past two, basically the orange and the red one, they reached a date. So this is showing you how long it took to reach a bottom eventually, okay? Before the prices started reversing. Well, the past two bear markets, we're looking at anywhere between about a year, okay? About a year to finally start reversing. So if we take a look at how long we've been in this bear market for now, we've been in this bear market for about 280 days or so since November, right? So according to this, we have a long ways to go. We actually have anywhere between 3 to 4 months to go. Now, it seems like compared to the other bear markets before, we're right on pace to where we should be. If you take a look at the three here, around the 300-day mark, they've actually coincided exactly the same. There's many overlapping ranges, right? So here we see that in the past three bear markets, we're actually dropping by about this much, right? We've dropped about, this is at 100%. So when you go down to here, this is at about a 70% range. Okay. We've dropped about 74% so far. So this is a great indicator for how long it could actually take to reach a potential bottom. This data is a little bit skewed, a little bit older. So from what we see right now, is it possible for us to have a major bull market in the next 4 months? Yes, it's possible, but is it likely if you were to ask me? In my opinion, no. This is another chart by Benjamin Cohen. This is the BTC market cycle peak showing the ROI. When did it take to reach the all-time high and how many days since it bottomed? So right here is where the bottom basically ends up getting hit, okay? So the bottom is hit somewhere around these particular ranges. How long did it take to reach an all-time high? If you take a look at the previous bear markets, right? Bull markets, where the red one was the most current one. This one here was the one right before it, where it made a pretty much double top. And this is 2017. This is how long it ended up taking to reach an all-time high. So this one here, we're looking at about 850 days. And these two here are between $1,400 to $1,500. So considering that right now, this is another great chart by Benjamin Cohen. This is the BTC market cycle peak. So this right here, where it begins, is how long it ended up taking from there to the bottom over here that we see, is how long, it was basically the last chart, okay? How long it took to finally reach a bottom. And then from there to the end here is how long it took to reach an all-time high. So based off of this chart, we're averaging about 400 days total. That's what I would say. And we're about 4 months away from that right now. Now, it doesn't mean that we're going to start it right there. Like if you take a look at, for example, the previous one, right? The red one here, that's the one in 2019, the bear market. This one here ended up taking 600 to 700 days almost. So that was almost 2 years. Whereas some were much shorter, right? For example, the orange one, this one here, the bear market was only about a year and 2 months. Whereas other ones are much shorter, but this one here, that one doesn't, it's a little bit skewed, the data, the blue one, okay? So we'll just average it out to 400 to 600 days. And then if you take a look at how long it takes to reach the all-time high from the 400-day mark, you're talking about between 400 to this one here was about to 900 days. So this one's 500. And then this one 400 to about, say, the averaging 1,500 days. So we're talking about 1,100 days, which is about 3 years to eventually reach the bottom. After it reaches the bottom, for us to make a new high, it takes a fairly long period of time, right? So to conclude this, there's a lot of time for us to start accumulating. I don't think crypto is going to explode anytime soon, just based off of really good data and metrics right now from into the cryptoverse. We've got a long ways to go to reach an all-time high. It could be anywhere between 2 years to 5 years. So make sure you guys are staying strong. You're holding on to the belief that Bitcoin will make an all-time high eventually. It's just a matter of time. So now is a really good time, like I've always mentioned, to increase your skill set, increase your knowledge, learn, make sure that you're doing something and staying active. A lot of people will have thrown in the towel already and given up on crypto because it takes too long. But this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity where I believe that the all-time high, the next one the milestone will be $100,000. That seems to be a very pivotal moment for crypto, and I cannot see how it won't get there. And then years from now, crypto could eventually reach $1 million. You don't know that. We don't know what it could reach, right? It's impossible to predict long term because this is something so new. In 20 years, it might be worth $1 million. And then we'll look back on this and say, hey, remember when Bitcoin was $20,000 in 2022 there and we just watched it? And then crypto does another 50x. So that's what I wanted to conclude with today. All right, guys? Thank you very much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed my content, please make sure you're hitting the like, the subscribe, and hit the notification button. And if you guys subscribe to my channel, If you decide to and you don't like it down the road, you can always change your mind. But I hope to see you stick around. And right now, consider joining my premium Discord training group. There's still room in it. Absolutely. I'd be more than happy to have more students right now where you get a 7-day trial. So consider that, and I'll see you in the group. Bye now and have a great day.